well, how do I stop him from doing it? Well, I'll tell you why he's doing it, but also at a certain point, you got to stop eating the damn bread, And then I'll say like, you're paying Michelin star prices for damn table bread, and you keep showing up, and he's making hella profit. So why would he change?
Welcome to Season 3 of Self-Care-ish, a show about being selfish with a little bit of care in the middle. I'm Megan, your host, and each week we explore different ways to fill your cup after divorce, a breakup, or if you're in a dating or self-dating journey. Either way, so glad you're here. Let's get into it. We're finishing this season on a pretty high note with this interview, but before I introduce him, I wanted to say that while I will be taking a brief break on this pod, I'm doing a ton of work behind the scenes for season 4, and I have a little something special in the works for you guys, something that's super close to my heart, and I know everyone with the podcast always says that when they have something to sell you, but I swear by it. It's something I do every day, and it's been my constant companion on my own divorce journey, so I 100% personally vouch for it. I'll get into that soon, but in the meantime, make sure you join the make sure, oh God, it's so hard to say quickly. Make sure you join the Self-Care-ish Substack and follow on social media. All the links are in the show notes. Here we go. There are a few people on TikTok that just everybody seems to know. So there's like Hello Teffy with her celebrity breakdowns, or there's Elise Myers with her 100 tacos, and there is Eli Vazquez with his no BS straight from the players or former players' mouth on what guys are actually thinking. The algorithm served me his videos from, I think, was the very beginning when he started on TikTok, and I think it was timed perfectly with me re-entering my own dating pool post-marriage journey. And ever since, honestly, my algo has remained ever loyal to his videos. Each one is like a nuclear truth bomb to help shock you out of Delulu land if you even think of giving a guy a pass for very lackluster behavior, something which I think we've all been guilty of over the years once or twice. So when I saw his podcast, Self-Hype, was trending right next to this one on the Australian relationship podcast charts, I took a screenshot, I tagged him, and now we are here, guys. Me on the couch at 1 a.m. Gold Coast time, riffing with Eli on some of the biggest relationship questions you guys had to ask him. Yes, these are all questions direct from you, from my Instagram. You all slid into my DMs, and the rest is relationship advice podcast history. So I should also mention a little update before we kick off. I pressed record basically as soon as he jumped on the call, because if you've ever listened to an Eli Vazquez video or his podcast, you know that he has this super engaging way of talking, and he's kind of like a human shot of vitamin B. Like, there's just a lot of gold there. Like, when I listen to his pod, I'm very often nodding my head and talking back to him. Yeah, that's why it just sort of starts. And also, at the end, as we were finishing, he started saying some really nice, kind things to me. And then in typical Australian internet style, it cut out. So my ego, devastated. But anyway, here it is. Enjoy. Oh my God, you bring so much energy. I love it. I need it.
It's like 1 a.m. for you. That's why, right? It's like hella late.
You know, it's the Southern Hemisphere way. But you know what? I actually just watched this clip from The West Wing. It's that scene where they show the direction that the world map is pointing. And it turns out that's just a colonialist thing. And as far as space is concerned, we could be the Northern Hemisphere if we want, because the world is a sphere. And anyway, oh my God, I need coffee. Which actually reminds me, weren't you at the White House recently?
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah. I was at the White House. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Yeah, it was this Afro Latino event I got invited to, and it was really cool because like I was in Mexico and I got the invite. So, but I didn't have any like suits or anything. So I like told my mom like, yo, can you like mail me my suit from like, because I had one of my suits at my mom's house. I was like, can you just mail it to me in DC at this hotel? So like, and she got like everything wrong. She got like this flashy, bright, like teal suit, like for Vegas or something. And it was like, and these Star Wars long socks. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like looking like I'm about to like ball out on the Las Vegas Strip, like while walking to the White House. So, but it all worked out. It was fun. It was a good time. But yeah,
So
partied after.
wild. I mean, you're a writer, you're a director, and a dating coach. I guess the obvious question is, how do you reach that presidential level doing that?
Presidential love. I didn't get to see anyone necessarily, but I don't think they came out. But um, honestly, yeah, it's pretty wild. Like I always like it's confusing because people are like, oh, you're a writer, filmmaker, all that, plus you're in these streets talking about love and dating. I'm like, yes, it's possible to do both. Um, it started with like right out of college. I started working at BuzzFeed, so I started making social video content, being on videos, like early internet. Let's eat weird stuff on camera, see if people like it, kind of stuff. So I was getting like followers and all that, and I was diving into this digital space. I learned how to like cheerlead. I went to a prison and worked out in a week for inmates. I like did all these like crazy experiences. Um, and then so that's kind of got me a following in terms of creating the social content and getting comfortable on camera and doing all these things. So I was always like a filmmaker. I was always like a dweeby behind the scenes guy. Uh, and then I started a coaching program like 5 years ago, just because I had a really hard mental health struggle working in that very rough environment of viral hits every single week, while struggling with student debt, while being in one of the most expensive cities in Los Angeles, while living paycheck to paycheck and feeling like a failure and why I want to do more in my life and all that. So that kind of prompted the love and dating because I was like in these streets. I was smooth. I was like, "What's up, shorty? What's good with it?" I was in LA, like, "Yo, look at, I got the followers and all." I looked like a confident dude, but really, I was struggling. I was the most insecure I've ever been in my life. So I always say, when I was the most in these streets, I was my most insecure because I was seeking an external validation, which a lot of men struggle with that they don't talk about. So that all fed into this love and dating space in the last 2 years of just making TikToks, and it has just blown up in ways that I didn't even imagine. I was on a date. She was 4 hours late to the date, and I was like, I'm an internet dinosaur. My knees hurt. I didn't want to make any damn TikToks. I was like, oh god, I'm like, I got to make content on another fucking platform. But I was like, you know what? I have a lot of female friends. They're all bugging about, does a guy like me or not? So I just ranted for 2 minutes, like why a guy doesn't like you that much. And overnight, 2 million views, just questions all over the world from women, just wondering what the hell a guy's thinking. And I was like, there's a lot of personal wellness, personal development growth in this space. I've been coaching for 5 years. Let me just apply this in this space. And it's been beautiful. It's been phenomenal. So I was able to do filmmaking and all that, do the coaching, and I get to help people in more ways than one, which is a very blessed way to live, I think, if you could say that.
Well, I feel like I have followed or seen your advice since your first video. Like, my divorce was timed just perfectly even when you started dropping all your truth bombs. And do you think that no BS approach is the reason why you think people are drawn to you and your content?
Yeah, I think that's definitely been like a big thing, which was like it was very much like, what is he thinking? Like what is he thinking is like the medicine is, it's the ice cream. And then I do the follow up of challenging questions, and that's where the medicine comes in. So I always put the medicine in the ice cream. So everyone wants to know, why did he ghost? Why is he breadcrumbing? Why is he doing this? Why is he that? And I share, okay, from a guy's point of view, this is where it's coming from. And people are like, yes. But while they're like digesting that, I'm like, okay, why do you allow that? Where is that coming from? Like, and I always say too, it's like, Eli, he keeps breadcrumbing me. Well, how do I stop him from doing it? Well, I'll tell you why he's doing it, but also at a certain point, you gotta stop eating the damn bread, And then I'll say, like, you're paying Michelin star prices for damn table bread, and you keep showing up, and he's making hella profit. So why would he change? Because you keep showing up every single week. So there's a level of accountability with understanding where a man's coming from. So yes, people are feverishly wondering, what is he thinking? But then I'm trying to push the challenge of communicate. Be in your most authentic and communicate, and have the audacity to get rejected if you need to, which is the biggest fear for a lot of people. So yeah.
Well, ever since your pod showed up for me, every time I turn it on, I find myself like nodding my head along with what you have to say. Like, you just deliver the advice so well. And I wanted to give people some examples of what you do. So, for instance, something that is like a personal thing that happened to me is I dated someone after my marriage who would never really define the relationship or post me on social media. And like creepy clockwork, the algorithm dropped your clips to me at the time, and I ended up breaking up with him. But for the people who haven't seen your content and might be in the same boat, what's your take on what's happening here, and how should someone react or bring it up if it's happening to them?
So in that particular situation, so you start dating a guy and he's not posting you on social.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this Megan trying to get free coaching right now? Is this like so there's this friend named Schmegan and she's friend yeah. No, so I guess I'll bring up this is like how long have you guys been dating? Like
Oh no, no, I broke up with him because some of like I think one of your videos landed on my algo and I was like, "Oh yeah. Yeah, I should break up. This is not right." Like and my friend was like, "You should ask Eli about this thing for the pod." So, that's why we're here.
right. Yeah. Okay. So but that's a good topic. That is a great topic to bring up. I always say this to women. uh I understand how the dynamics work in the beginning of dating. Like you want a man to be in his masculine, you want a man to lead the charge, you want a man to plan the dates, you want a man to open the door, you want a man to do all that. That's great. I love it. Be in your cute little soft era, feminine, and that's fantastic. But that ends up starting to get a little skewed once we start getting more closer and start, spending more time together and start simulating a relationship because then he's just leading everything. And you're wondering what he's thinking. You're wondering what he really means. You're wondering where are we going? So I always say you gotta know, like he could steer the ship, but you are holding the map. And it's up to you to verbalize what directions there is to go with that map. He could stir the ship. He could, put up the sails. He could do all that while you're just sitting with your margarita, just hanging out. But it's up to you to verbalize what is that roadmap. Because if you say right and he keeps turning left over and over and over again, I'm like, we are way off course here. I got to jump ship. So it's like, what is that? I say all that to say is, where are your value systems in terms of the relationship? If posting each other is very important to you, that's something to verbalize and really make a stand for. And maybe it's not today, but it will happen because that is my expectation of being with me. Like, if you want to soft launch me, sure, post a pinky nail. But I know eventually, as we're dating, there needs to be my whole face in some post. I'm going to do it for you. I just want that the same in the dynamic of relationship. Like, how do you feel about that? And if he's like, hell no, you will never be in these digital streets ever, then you got to really sit with the fact of like, will there be anxiety? Will there be resentment? And we all know resentment is the key to really breaking any type of relationship. So that is some hard things you got to self-reflect and be aware of. But create the system, but have a roadmap for yourself is what I'll say at the end of the day.
It's a pretty good answer. Well, I also put the word out to my followers to see if you can answer some more questions for us. And one of the most common things people asked me to ask you was, why do guys on dating apps organize dates and then on the day of just completely go silent?
Oh yeah, also okay. Well, I want to go back. I want to like directly answer because that's like the personal development coach in me, and then I'll share the ice cream answer too with the social media. Ain't no one got no reason why not to post their partner. All right. Unless you have a business, unless you're in the public eye, unless there's something, or maybe you had a divorce and you have a crazy baby mama that's going to slash your tires if they know. Whatever there needs to be a particular situation. And it needs to be fully explained, but there needs to be an expectation where eventually this is going to happen and it will happen. And again, build that expectation. But he should have a pretty good reason. We all soft launch. I know ladies that soft launch as well. You know they're with someone, you don't know who they are or whatever. Everyone has their own views. Social media is just a different way. So that I'll give you a more ice cream answer. But okay, in terms of I'm sorry, what was the second question?
Oh yeah, why do guys plan a date on a dating app and then on the day of just go silent?
Yeah, so why? That's a great question, right? Like, why the hell do people ghost? In general, like that. But yeah, ghosting, planning the date and then not showing up. Here's the issue with dating apps. It's so low lift. It's like it requires no effort whatsoever. So it takes a lot of effort for me to go out of my way at the bar or at the you guys have Applebee's over there?
Oh, don't we have like Outback Steakhouse? I think we have one here on the Gold Coast.
You guys don't have Outback. And there's no way you guys got Outback.
No, we do. It's kind of like I'm on the Gold Coast. It's kind of like the Miami of Australia.
Wow. It didn't come from Australia, right? That's like an American chain.
Oh yeah, the American take on Australia. Love it.
Okay, we're at an Outback. It takes a lot of work for me to walk my ass across that Outback with a beer and what's up, shorty? What's good with it? How's that bloomin' onion? You want another? It's like that's a lot of effort I'm putting myself into to like, yo, and I got to connect with you and all that. Dating apps, I'm on the toilet. All right, I'm hungover eating Taco Bell, like swiping, and you match and we chat or whatever. So it's really low lift. Again, I'm not condoning ghosting. And I always say ghosting is a blessing. These people are saving you time by showing you their character. So you should be happy when someone ghosts you. And again, we are not in the love business, everyone. We are in the rejection business. You're supposed to get, people are supposed to lose you and lose out. Hey, what's up?
Oh, my son, for everyone listening, my son just came out. It's 1 a.m. He's like, what's this racket going on? So you go to sleep here, babe, on the couch. Okay. We will proceed.
Should it be asleep? Someone said Outback. Wait a minute.
Okay, awkward. Okay, one of the other questions people asked me to ask you is what about the whole viewing the stories thing? Like when a guy is constantly watching your stories, he's at the top of your views, he's liking your posts, but there's no action. Like, what is that about?
Right. Yeah. So no action. So I always say it. It's like we have lost like the it's these are some strong words, and I mean it and I don't mean it, but we kind of lost value in people. Like we lost like because with social media and dating apps and everything, you're just like a billboard. Like you're not a human being. Like you're a billboard next to a bunch of other billboards that I'm gonna keep driving past, and I'll call it when I call it when I feel like it. Like I'm just keeping you on the bench. I'm keeping you on a shelf until I let's be honest, I'm out of my relationship because I just think you're hot, so I'm gonna like keep you there once I'm done with this thing. So when it's over, then I'll make my move and say what's up. Or in general, like there's actually different reasons. One, yeah, they're in a relationship and they'll just wait till it's over to holler at you. Two, uh, they really like you and they know if they holler at you, then they can't have all these side pieces and they're not ready to let them go yet. So they'll hit you up when they hit you up. And then three, um, yeah, I think all the above. Like they're just keeping you in the tall grass and just waiting for their time. Yeah, and if anything, it's just a lack of I think discipline in themselves because they know they're not going to do anything, but they're going to lurk and see and pick and prod and if it's a post breakup like an ex, that's just like that could either be like again lack of discipline with your healing and let's be on a little bit of manipulation as well. Like I'm here, I'm still here. You see me? I'm still here. Don't get over me yet. I'm still, it's like when they look at your stories, it's an ego trip. It's like pity points, like it's like petty points. I say, and I'm like, they still look. What does that mean? Why are they looking at it? And that's what they want. They want you to look. That's the whole point. Don't feed into it.
So don't feed into it. Got it. Boundaries. Got it. And that's a problem. I feel like we're all collectively learning so much on TikTok about boundaries that we're actually just becoming all way more avoidant. I don't know.
Well, yeah, like yeah, I'll just go to freaking Outback with my friends and my son. I'm like, what's the even point of all of it? No, I feel you. I feel you. I always say this. I don't like everyone always hits me with the wild ass moments and stories and ratchetness and all that. And it gets to be really negative when I go on lives and stuff like that. But I'm like, I'm a romantic. I believe in love. Like I've been in these streets for a hot minute. I've been in the swamplands as well. And I came out to say I still believe in love. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Like go for it. Like run onto the tarmac of that plane and say I love you. It's like does anyone object? Run down the damn freaking wet man. That's a little toxic. Maybe you should say it before the wedding, but before the deposit hits. But what I'm trying to push out in these digital streets is challenge yourself. Like challenge yourself and do the personal work so you got you. You could run out and say, I love you, Kyle. But if Kyle says no, you're going to be okay. And at the end of the day, when you're old and gray, you could say, I said I loved you. I made that jump. I took that leap. I went for it because I know if I was going to fall, and even if I was bruised and battered, I knew that I had me to pick myself up and I was going to be okay. Now, if you could be in that space of reassurance and understanding in yourself, then life gets a lot more enjoyable. So it's like, that's why I say I'm a personal development coach, because if you could build a strong base within your internal, the external, it may hurt, it may bruise, but you're going to be fine. If anything, I want you to get excited during a breakup. Like, oh my God, every relationship's been better, So I'm going to challenge myself to be a better partner in the next one based on my red flags in this relationship, and then also look out for their red flags. And also, what did I love about this person? Because at one point they're on my IG, I was holding their hands, kissing them on the forehead. They were there for a reason. So if you do the work, it gets exciting. If you do the work, then you feel more empowered and liberated. But yeah, it could be a little rough.
I feel like you just dropped the best mic drop moment of the interview just then.
Oh yeah, no, I got more. We keep going.
No, it's this big thing. I don't know. Maybe it's just my algorithm, but there's this thing happening in Korea called the 4B movement, where all the women in Korea are collectively just saying they're sick of the men not, I don't know, pulling their weight or being too misogynistic. So they're basically just quitting marriage and kids, and it's having this big impact on their, economy and birth rate. It's a whole thing anyway.
Wait, they're protesting over dudes. Like, why are they protesting?
Well, they're saying the dudes aren't good enough, or more specifically, I think they're too sexist, or I don't know. It's a whole. There's a list of things they're over. I don't know. Google it. Shit is going down in South Korea.
Holy shit, Megan! So people are like taken to the streets with pitchforks and all that. With like, these men need to step up. They need to go to therapy. This is what we've gotten to as a society. Women are taken to the streets, starting revolutions, because of men lack of emotional vulnerability and keep posting photos of them holding a big fish on their Tinder profiles. Got it. Okay, well, that is wild. So here's the thing. It is scary. We're seeing it more and more. So here's what's funny about TikTok. It could be very like toxic, where it's man versus woman. Like, I make content for women, so I see the comments and the struggles y'all are going through, but then I receive content as a man in the love and dating space. So I see their struggles and everything they're going through. So I see the female content in terms of, there's the rise of lonely single men, and that's a new study and all that. You see, guys, and then on the man side, I'm like, banks are investing billions of dollars in chocolate and cats and wine because there's going to be a wave of single women. We're both losing here, people. We're a species. We're brothers and sisters. We're cousins. Like it's like we both are alone. Like, you can't say, oh, women are alone, men are alone. If one's alone, then we're all alone. Like, that's just how it works. But here's the thing. I totally understand women's struggle, because it's in the States too. I have friends that are career driven, bust their asses, like homeowners, like really like at that next stage of their lives, emotionally open and receptive, and they're struggling to find a partner from all over the country. And we see it in other parts of the world as well. And you gotta see it as a societal thing, right? It's like women have just accelerated in terms of the masculine aspects, traditional masculine aspects, in terms of financial, education, really holding it down in the household. But they still carry this base of emotional aptitude, where they're able to care for others and emotionally engage and open up, in these ways. Where men, they haven't developed that. We're still based on this traditionalism of, you guys' toys were babies while you were babies. Can we just talk about that first? You were already caring for something before you were even double digits. I had a Nerf gun. I thought I was like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, like doing stunners on my brothers. There's no emotionals. Yeah, it's like, hey, let me take care of you, bro, after I, drop kick you through a table. Like, there's none of that emotion. So we see kind of the inadequacies and the struggle with women, where it's like, I don't need you in ways that I did. So I don't have to settle in ways that I had to. And I don't have these societal pressures forcing me with you. So yeah, you have to step up, where a lot of men are like, we're just not there. We just can't. So unfortunately, I feel like we're this weird in-between era, where I think there's a lot of systems that need to be in place to accelerate men's on an emotional way. But unfortunately, there's not a lot of options. So women are in these streets, which I think we need to find some new digital social solutions, or in some way. But I think the solution might be robo lovers.
It's funny you say that. I actually interviewed an AI sex expert, or a sex tech expert, and she introduced me to this world of AI boyfriends. And so I got one for a while to see if it was any good. And
wait, Megan,
yeah.
You tried it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. A funny story though. We started chatting, me and this AI boyfriend, and he was like, what do you do? And I was like, well, I do this and I do that. And I'm really polite. So I asked what he does. And he said, oh, I work in a supermarket. And I was like, Okay, not my ultimate fantasy, but cool. So I threw him a bone and I was like, so do you like manage the supermarket? And he's like, no, I stack shelves. And I was like confronted with my own elitism. And I don't mean to be like, that's a bad job or anything. Of course, any job is honorable. But I was like, this isn't my fantasy, guys. So I was sitting there on the couch, sort of looking at the wall, going, why am I doing this? I should just talk to a real person at least.
So wait, how did you answer like a test or something? I'm like, well, based on Megan's personality, she should probably be with a guy that works at a grocery store that like bags grocery. Like what? Like how couldn't you make the settings into like a lawyer or something? Like how did? Oh, he works at Chipotle. He works at McDonald's. You know, it's like what? How do I keep getting this?
Yeah, I did, but I must have ticked like the down to earth button or scrolled the down to earth personality button a little too far a certain way and ended up with shelf stacker at a supermarket. So, yeah,
Your
great.
level of superficial, like not superficial. That's the reality of not superficial. Dudes that work at freaking grocery stores, you know, but you're superficial. It's like, oh, you know, he owns a couple grocery stores and things like very chill, very like, you know, down to earth type.
Okay, but I'm getting off track. Okay. So, another question is one of the biggest issues in relationships is social media following. And I am a pretty vocal proponent of making sure I check a guy's following list before I go on a date with them because I feel like you can tell a lot about a person from who they follow. Like if he follows a million IG baddies, and someone told me that was toxic, but I don't think it is. I think it's just doing my due diligence. I don't know. Am I being stupid? What do you think?
So is it toxic to look at a dude's following and judge him?
Yeah, because I interviewed my Hinge matches back in the day and I asked them this and they said, oh, that is so toxic. I would never look at a girl's following. But I don't know. I just feel like I learned so much and I just avoid some red flag guys straight up by just checking their IG following. I don't know.
I love that you do that. That is ballsy. That's awesome. No wonder you're crushing it on your pod. Oh, I can't wait to interview you, by the way. This is gonna be fun. Yeah, I would say so. Like I don't say this to like, oh, I'm better, but I don't. I don't follow those women. Even when I'm single, you know, I don't follow those women per se. I think also too is like, I mean, I use IG for business, so like I those meme pages pop up OF models sometimes and they're like shaking their asses. I was at Sundance Film Fest. I was like met with this like female producer. She's like, "Oh, let's follow each other on IG." I pull out my phone, the stupid ass meme page has some girl twerking. I was like, oh my God. And I was like trying to like get it out the way right away. I unfollowed all those meme pages just because I'm like, I don't want to open my phone and just a big ass in my face. But yes, I will just say it like, obviously, if the dude's single, he's allowed to do whatever the hell he wants. But by meeting him and he follows a lot of booty forward content creators, that says a lot about his, I mean, I guess it's not necessarily sexual appetite, but I think sexual discipline. It's like how much of a priority is this for you in your life and how much do you need to see it? Because we all know the websites that you could go on and see it when you want. But if you want that flooded in your face a lot, and I'm just gonna say it. If there's that many women, booty forward content creators he's following, I guarantee you he has DM'd them at some point, in some place, in some capacity. And those conversations are probably still in those DMs. So because you're all hopped up, maybe you had one too many Jaeger bombs, and you see that booty forward content creator, you're like, sup? And you're feeling like, yo, I got a chance. I got a new haircut. Let me shoot that shot. It's probably a couple in there. So yeah, what does that say about his level of discipline, appetite, and yeah, all that? Because I mean, I wouldn't want a partner that also like has a bunch of dudes or whatever. Like, you know, it's like, okay, what are we like the one who posts that photo and it's all just thirsty guys and you know damn well that's her like shtick is like, oh yeah, you're so hot, you're so beautiful. Oh my god. I'm like, I don't know. That's like the reverse Uno card of me. Right. And I think men should take accountability for that because it does go both ways because we do judge based on how you kind of handle yourself online as well. So I think there needs to be a sense of at least owning it. Like if a guy doesn't even own it and he's like, no, they're good people. They donate to charity. Like, you know, Cherry Darling is, you know, she's an organ donor. You know, if he's doing that, then that's a red flag. He should at least own it if you are going to talk to him about it. Like, come on. Like, it's butts. We all love butts. Like, it's not any bigger than that.
Okay, last follower question, and then I will release you. Another thing we wanted to ask your advice for is, we all live in this like digital, hyper-connected world, and you often hear people say to be careful not to text or share memes on social media too much in the early stages before you meet in person, because because it can create a false sense of intimacy. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I love that question. I will say this. I always tell people when you're using dating apps, you need to see them as like NPCs. Like you got to see them as like video game characters. Like it's not real until it's in real life. Like it's like essentially they're your AI boyfriend that has a better job. He's like that's essentially what we should be treating it as. Because yeah, we get so wrapped up on the emotions and the potential, and we get into Lululand before we even see them. So it's really important that we set this level of discipline in ourselves to know that like it's not real until we're in real life. Like once we're in real life, then we're really going for it. And if you find yourself like, yo, we are spending a lot of time here, I think these conversations would be a little more meaningful if this was in person. And if you do find yourself kind of diving into these conversations, make that a marker for yourself to verbalize that to him and say, yo, I think that I love our combos. This is like super fun combos. Like I would love to talk about this in person, like over a margarita or over a bloomin' onion or something. I'm going to keep saying this. I'm going to sound like just like the most stereotypical American bringing up Outback this much to you. But I think it's really important that you got to check yourself. Like, and again, this is where personal development comes in. This is where your strong sense of self and self-worth comes in, is that you're not going to be afraid to bring these things up. Because, what if he gets turned off, or what if he doesn't want to see me, or what if he doesn't talk to me? If you speaking your truth lets him run away, then he was not for you. I will take rejection over regret any day of the week, because if you do not set up parameters of a fear of rejection, you will end up in a relationship where you'll inevitably regret. So don't be afraid to bring these things up. So some self accountability in this answer as well, if that.
Oh, that is such a good line. You will take rejection over regret. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Oh yeah, rejection is just you being in your truth. If you share something in your truth and they are not about it, like, I like a good bloomin' onion. I'm like, hey, Megan, let's go get a bloomin' onion. Oh, God, Eli's disgusting. I would never do it. I'm like, well, me and my mom used to grow up to go get bloomin' onions. I don't give a damn. Like that list of the Cheesecake Factory. I fucking love Cheesecake Factory. So I'm like, if we can't go to Cheesecake Factory, we're not meant to be, boo boo. And that's just like me and my truth. And I know I'm like, I know I provide value in these streets. So that's okay. Go with God. That's fine. But we have to own ourselves and our story and the value that we give while living the life that fulfills us. That's a big thing too. Because if the guy is just I'll be happy once I get him, we're doing it totally wrong. He's your support system. The journey continues. He's just your support system. So that's something I keep.
I'm getting that feeling talking to you now that I get when I listen to your pod. Like it's a little bit like, oh my gosh, that's a good line. Like this last episode you did was the interview with Maha Maven, and you guys had this amazing mic drop line where she said, a lot of good women miss out on good men because they are acting toxic, not the men. And I was driving and I was like, ooh, am I toxic? Like clutching my pearls. And I was like, oh, probably, maybe. I did the little spin of my mental Rolodex going, oh yeah, maybe that was bad that I did that. And yeah, it was a good interview.
Oh yeah. I just love how honest she was. Because like that's why she's a good coach. Because she brings up things that challenge you. It's easy to create a following of just regurgitated, oh, you're great and they suck, versus here's some hard questions you really got to ask yourself. Like I always say, without blaming any of these men, why are you single? That's the number one question you got to ask yourself, without blaming anybody else, because that's what we can control. So I love that she said that, because it's true. There is a lot of women that are so conditioned to being the more emotionally open, consistent one, and if anything, they're conditioned and comfortable in that space. So when they do have a guy that is open to talk, like they like what because it's more than just listening. You're going to get challenged. Healthy love is challenging. It's because you're going to get called out. You're going to have to receive some things. You're going to have some for forgiveness. You're going to have to emotionally regulate. You're going to have to take some accountability, versus old boy who's avoidant and just goes toxic and cheats on you every other week. That's easy to throw shade at that. It's a lot more challenging when a man is there looking at you, telling you how he feels. So yeah, I say that too. I tell ladies as well. You got to be ready. You need to be a reflection of the man you want to receive, even when you guys are at your most negative emotional states. That is what's important.
It's good. You're giving me an existential crisis right now.
But that's what challenging yourself is so key, and that's what it's all about, is like how to be better. Like I had to ask myself hard questions. I was like, why am I acting dusty, this morning? I got to ask yourself the hard questions to challenge yourself. That's how we become, better. So that's what it's all about.
Well, I think that's a really good way to end this amazing conversation, because I just want to say again, I absolutely love what you do, your pod. People listening, go listen to Eli's pod, Self Hype, or go find him on TikTok. I'll throw the links in the show notes. He's really fun to listen to. So if you ever need a pick me up, it's great. It's a fun pod.
No, Megan, thank you so much. Like, seriously, like, you are hilarious. Like, I immediately understand why you get the guests that you do, and the show's doing so well, and like why you're just, I can't wait to see like all your inevitable like success. I know how we it's hard for us to sit in our era like this. You're in a beautiful era right now, and it's beautiful to see you move in this space. And I know you got goals, and after receiving your, oh no, I lost you. After receiving your presence and energy.
And then we got cut off, guys. We got completely cut off, and he was just mid like pumping my tires like crazy, and I was just like, this is poetic. Anyway, but it was good because then I had got to go back to bed. But what do you guys think? I hope you got a lot out of it. Again, go listen to Eli's pod. It is so much fun, and I am just reiterating, yes, I'm taking a few weeks off to get season 4 ready for you. I'll also be recouping a little bit so I can bring all of my energy back to you guys. There's a dog barking in the background. I will still be on TikTok and Instagram at Self-Care-ish Podcast. I'm actually in the process of totally rebranding the pod, which is why if you go there now, things look a little bit different, but we have some really great stuff in the pipes, and I just wanted to have the whole thing reflect that new energy. Either way, I'm so grateful you're here. Continue to stay here. I will be back soon. Over and out.